Hello, welcome to Impact Archery. My name is Frank. We'd like to give our new archers some tips on how to shoot bows and arrows. If you'd like to follow me into the range, we'll go over some of the do's and don'ts. All right, let's get started. One thing you want to remember about any bow is that you never want to draw it back and let go of it without an arrow in it. It's called dry firing. It does damage to the limbs of the bow. Behind me, you're going to see our shooting line, which everybody's going to straddle, 1 foot either side of it. Everybody's going to shoot all at the same time. You're going to have 4 arrows in your floor quiver in front of you. When everybody's done shooting, or when you're done shooting, you want to hang your bow back up on the bow rack so your hands are free to go retrieve your arrows. You want to hang the bow so it hangs freely. We want to avoid putting the bow on the bow rack like that where it hits at the top. Not all that great for the paint job. All right, everybody's going to wait till everybody gets back behind the line before you put another arrow in the bow. Let's talk about an arrow real quick. You hang the bow up properly. Arrow has 3 vanes or fletches on it. 2 the same color, 1 a different color. Different colored vane is called an index vane. Like a book index, gives us an indication where the arrow goes in the bow. Every bow has a handle. Above the handle is the window of the bow, and in that window there is an arrow rest. Obviously the arrow is going to rest on the arrow rest. One thing you want to remember, it's an ambidextrous bow. There's an arrow rest on either side of the bow. The thing you want to remember is the arrow always goes on the same side of the bow the archer is. I'm right-handed. I hold the bow with my left. Guess where the arrow goes? Over here on this side. Left-handed people would be holding the bow with their right, and the arrow would go over on this side. Let's get back to the index vane. The index vane wants to point away from the bow. So what happens when the arrow leaves the bow, those 2 vanes that are the same color are going to slide by the window freely, and the index vane is not going to hit. That green thing, the arrow nock, is going to go on the string below, always underneath the string nock, that brass thing, and it snaps on, all ready to go. We teach 2 fingers under and 1 finger over. It's the reason these rubber things on here, these are finger savers, easier on your fingers than the actual string would be. We want to fold our little finger and our thumb out of the way. Not going to use this. Use those. This is our hook for drawing the bow back. Word of caution. Some people believe they have to hold the arrow to draw the arrow back. Oh, what happened? Soon as I squeeze the arrow with my fingers, I'm going to pull the arrow off the arrow rest. So we want our fingers at the arrow, but not squeezing the arrow. I want my fingers perpendicular to the string. I want to pull straight back, and lo and behold, the arrow comes just fine without me forcing it off the arrow rest. All righty. 3 things to remember, and you'll be doing just fine. Number 1, hold the bow properly. Number 2, draw back to your anchor point each and every time. And number 3, follow through. I'm going to show you what all those 3 things are. First of all, holding the bow properly. We talked about the handle. The common tendency people have, hey, grab that handle, let's shoot an arrow. We don't want to do this. I call it my white knuckle grip. I can make the bow do all kinds of bad things. Second reason we don't want to do this, it hurts. You're going to hit your forearm with the string. Now watch what happens to my forearm when I hold the bow properly. Oh, went out of the way. I'm not going to hit my forearm anymore. How did I do that? Oh, look, my knuckles are at a 45-degree angle. I went from that white knuckle grip to a relaxed wrist. And what happens with my elbow when I do that? It points outward. We want to keep that elbow relaxed and hold the bow properly, number one. Number two, draw back to your anchor point each and every time. It's important to draw the bow back to the same spot. So we need a landmark, corner of our mouth. Since our fingers are on a string like this, we teach drawing that bow back and putting that index finger right in the corner of your mouth. That thumb, I fold it out of the way, goes right against my jaw. That string is tickling the side of my nose. I'm at my anchor point, and I can go to that same spot each and every time. Plus, when I'm at my anchor point, I get to aim. If we want to hit the target, we're going to have to aim. I'm going to put this arrow at my anchor point. Look down that arrow shaft. Where's my eye at? I'm looking right down a straight arrow shaft. I'm going to line that arrow up with the center line of the target. The other thing I see when I'm looking down that arrow shaft, I see the point of the arrow. And I'm going to put the point of the arrow on a reference point, either below or above the bullseye, depending on how far we're shooting. And we change that simply by raising or lowering the bow. Sound fair? All right. Number three, and we're going to go do this. Follow through. Same follow through they talk about in every other sport. Swing a baseball bat, tennis racket, golf club, bowling ball, basketball shot. Doesn't matter, they all require follow through. Here's archery's follow through. I'm going to get back to my anchor point, get that aiming done, and now all I want to do is relax my finger. String slipped off my fingers. My hand, when I no longer had to hold that string there, went straight back when the pressure was gone. Follow through. Come on, let's do this fun stuff. All right, let's get started. We're going to pick our bow up from our bow rack. We're going to come over to our shooting line. We're going to plant our feet, 1 foot either side of the shooting line, nice and comfortable, shoulder width apart. Big thing with archery is relax, relax, relax. You don't want to get all tense. We don't want to start leaning back either. That's in the movies. We don't want to lean our head. Posture is important. We want to stand straight up. Look at the target. Once we start to commit to the shot, we don't want anything to move. We're going to pick up an arrow out of our floor quiver. I like picking up an arrow with my fingers in front of the vein so I can twirl it. And then I put that index vein pointing away from my palm. And I really have a good hold of that arrow. All I have to do now is sneak the arrow through here, take it forward, pull it back, snap it on the string, let go, and you've just knocked your first arrow. We're going to put our 2 fingers under the arrow, 1 finger above, at the arrow, but not squeezing the arrow. This is when I like to put a little pressure on the string so that I can commit to my grip. Make sure that that bow handle's resting on that beefy part at the base of my thumb. Roll my fingers over, touch the front of the bow so I don't drop the bow on the floor. I'm going to keep my elbow up, my head up. I'm going to draw the bow straight back to my anchor point. Lock it in. I'm going to finish aiming and relax my fingers. And you've just shot your first arrow. When you've shot all your arrows in your quiver, the 4 that are in your quiver, you're going to go over and hang your bow up on the bow rack. Remember how we did that? So that it hangs freely on the string. You're going to look around and make sure everybody else has gotten off the line and completed shooting their arrows. Generally, somebody might be out here and yell, "Clear." All clear to go up and pull your arrows. Everybody's going to go get their arrows all at the same time. We're going to go over how to pull your arrows a little bit. There's things to be cautious of. You want to look around and pay attention that there's nobody behind you standing too close where you could pull an arrow and put the end of the arrow in somebody's eye, for instance. I like putting my either left or right hand, whichever you are, the back of my hand up against the target. Take my other hand right up next to the arrow, so I'm not bending it or twisting it, right up next to my other hand, and pull straight out. Pull up. I like to throw my arrow underneath my thumb and just repeat the process to get your 4 arrows. Once you've got your 4 arrows, you're going to walk back to the shooting line with the points of the arrows pointing down towards the floor. So you're not going to have the possibility of tripping and falling on the point of an arrow. Put your arrows back in your quiver, step back off the line. You're going to wait till everybody gets back behind the line. You're going to go get your bow and do it all over again. All right, now that we've run through that for you, I want to make sure that you realize that you can ask the range master if there's anything that you're uncertain about and want some help with. He'd be glad to do it. Have fun, be safe, enjoy yourself, and thank you for choosing Impact Archery. Have a great day.